Welcome to the Influential Leader podcast, where we meet everyday leaders working in organisations and making huge changes and impact to the world. A huge part of getting the job today is personal branding. It helps you to be distinguished from others. It helps you establish your reputation, the way you want to be perceived in the market, but also in your organisation. When you proactively think and nurture your personal branding, it helps you to communicate your unique qualities. It gives your employers or the people you're working with a value proposition to help you get into the right audience or the right market or the right organisation. So if you're thinking about personal branding, then it's definitely on the cards for you to grow your organisation, to grow your career, and help you with additional opportunities that you weren't even sure of that will help you get to your professional goals. Today's influential leader with us today is Karen Tisdale. She is someone that adopted LinkedIn early, and as she just told me, there's 90 million people around the world on LinkedIn, and we'll get some more details from her. But welcome, Karen. I'm so grateful for you to be joining us today.
The gratitude's all mine. I'm really thrilled to be here and be sharing some tips and ideas with your audience. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. So there's so much I want to touch on, but one of the first things is really getting people to understand what personal branding is and how do they use LinkedIn? Because I know I'm always telling my clients, get on LinkedIn. If you're not using it, then, you're doing yourself a disservice. So tell us a little bit about, what you saw when you first saw it and what it is today.
Absolutely. Sorry, I just felt like I was going to sneeze then. So please forgive me, audience. If I sneeze, maybe we'll be able to edit that out. We'll see how we go. So I think there's been such a huge evolution on LinkedIn, and I think we're going through another evolution in the next couple of years, which will be interesting. So LinkedIn started off 2005. I was on it, a really early adopter. I used to be a recruiter, so I used to use it to headhunt for people, and it was very much a place to get a job. When it was very much,
Well, that was its intention, right? Like they set up LinkedIn to find people, which is an awesome idea, but it's not really just that anymore, is it?
I think it's almost even more that now in some ways. But I think it's not just for job seekers. So, we really saw 2015, it really kicked off about being a place where you can secure clients and you can impact how you're known by your peers and your stakeholders and things like that. So some of the organizations I've worked with and some of the individuals, it's not around getting a job. It's actually around talent attraction as a senior leader. If people want to work for you, and it's really hard to get great staff at the moment, that's only going to increase in the next couple of years. You need to look great. You need to be a social CEO. You need to be out there. Edelman Trust Barometer and all these other indices are all saying it's very much about how people meet you. And I think that increased even more during COVID, 2020, 2021. We weren't going to conferences. We weren't meeting people face to face. Zoom became the norm. And, reaching out to people on LinkedIn and building connection with strangers and deepening connection with people you already knew has become more important to people's business success, both from a customer acquisition, stakeholder relationships, and also from a job. So I think we've seen quite a few evolutions around LinkedIn.
Definitely. Well, I know when I ever connect someone, I try and do it through LinkedIn because I feel they can stalk each other. They can get to know who they are before they actually ever talk to each other. And I remember a client once said to me, why don't you just do it on an email? And I thought, that's so you can see who you're about to talk to without me having to just, yes, I can do the spiel. This is why I'm introducing you. But this way you can see, for your own insights, why you're being introduced and meeting each other. On that, I've actually got people that I've met on LinkedIn and have had conversations with on Zoom that I've never met in person, but we've had like relationships for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's certainly been my journey. I started my business in 2019. 2009. 2009 is a long time ago. And I started it while I was on maternity leave, using LinkedIn to helping people show up on LinkedIn so that they could build connection. And I built a lot of big relationships with people, and I couldn't go out. I had young babies. I couldn't go to those networking events.
But I remember back then, or maybe I was probably coming to LinkedIn, a fair few years later. But back then, people were like very much, you only connect with people you know.
Yes. Yes, that's been a huge change, hasn't it? And now people are connecting with people that they don't know.
Well, I even think about like if I'm presenting in a state or a town that I've not been to, I'll start looking for connections in that place because I think, well, why not? You're growing your network.
Yeah, it's the handshake you make before you meet people. But I think there's a real missed opportunity when people will just find people that they want to connect with that they don't know and just go connect, connect, connect. I think that's a little bit like, if you can remember business cards, it's a little bit like, going to a networking event and putting your business card in somebody's back and walking off really quickly before they turn around. It's like,
Look, I am guilty for that. I actually do like look who I want to connect with, and then I would just connect. But once they connect back, that's when I'll start a conversation. So am I doing it wrong? Should I I know there's like an opportunity to go here, I'll put a note with it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because you've often only got one chance to make a good first impression, and I think there's still a lot of skepticism. So I don't connect with everybody who sends me an invite to connect. So I do only connect locally in Australia. So all of your many audience members who might be overseas, I don't connect with people globally, and I've got that on my profile. I've got that in my video, and so for me, when I'm connecting with people in Australia, I want to reference a few people we know in common or why I'm looking at connecting. I like how you're talking about leadership and heard great things about leadership programs, Sarah. So I want to sort of add that why in there.
Yeah, I love that.
So that there's some context, you know what I mean? And then I follow up once they've accepted my invite to connect. I don't pounce on them straight away, leave it a week or so. And then I go through all of my recent people who've accepted my invite or I've accepted theirs, and then I leave them a voice note. So it's really personalized. And I'm showing that I'm not a robot,
Yes. Yes. Yeah, a bot connecting with you.
Never good. And that's what the connect could signify, So I think it's really
so I guess there's two extremes that I wanted to just touch on with you. So one extreme is that they're on LinkedIn but they don't use it at all. They're not adding to it. They're not, trying to connect to more people. They just kind of accept connections as they come in, which I see still today, which still surprises me because I just think they don't know the brilliance of the platform and what it's there for. But then I actually have seen the other extreme where people have used it to pitch or a job description. Like, this is my job resume. Yeah, just looked at my LinkedIn. Like, I'm not giving you a resume, just look at my LinkedIn. And look, I personally love that. I think, oh my gosh, that's great because then I can just suss out everything. But from me, I would never do that because I just think I want to control what they see, and I want to and my personal LinkedIn profile isn't a resume at all. Like, I don't have hardly any of my past experiences in there. I've got completely what I'm doing now. This is what I'm focusing on. This is why you'd want to talk to me. I don't have any of my corporate background in there because I just think, for me, I think that's not me now. Like, I just think, yes, I've got experience and I've become the person I am today because of that experience, but it's not what I'm working with you on today. So I don't know. Like, I don't know if I've got the wrong idea, but I'd love to hear your part of it.
Yeah, so I agree with you that you do want to really showcase what you're doing now. And in your experience section, it's really important that you do have in there details around your recent roles, and the more recent your positions, the more information you're providing, particularly on your current one. And this applies, we're not talking just job seekers, we're talking people who just want to be seen favorably by their peers, stakeholders, that sort of thing. And by, they may have colleagues these days in hybrid working that they never get to meet, So this is a great way of people seeing you. When you do add all of your previous experiences and you link correctly to the company page, so you've got a logo there, then you rank highly in a search, more highly in a search if you've filled out all of your experience section. Because if you have worked for a company like, say, Coca-Cola, then everybody who worked at Coca-Cola during that time period is most likely to be shown by LinkedIn, your profile, in the people you may know section. So it'll increase your visibility to go through and add every previous role you've ever had. Being sensible about it. I haven't put my first ever job in Sizzlers on there. Do you remember Sizzlers?
Oh, this is like
my LinkedIn profile.
People totally age me, and people are like, I'll be putting roles from 20 years ago to 30 years ago.
I love being aged. So I've got those roles from way back. But, if you've worked in a company, I did a stint for 3 months. And it was while I was running my business, actually, in about 2012 or so. I did a 3-month stint. It was a 3-month stint. It was just a short contract, and it was around changing some LinkedIn profiles, but it's also some other stuff. It's not on my profile. It's 3 months. I don't want it to detract from my business.
Yeah.
So I think there's many different shades of right.
Good point. And what about those people that are just using it as a resume?
Oh, I think that's the future. So, this idea that, I used to write resumes. So way back in the day, used to write resumes and LinkedIn profiles, and I don't do resumes anymore. Very occasionally, I really don't do them. LinkedIn's my thing. And what I don't like about resumes is that they're so far down the funnel. People secure a role through people they know. So a resume is fine if you're a low or middle manager and you're pitching against, there's hundreds of you out there. Even then, actually, you should still use who you know, because otherwise you're submitting a resume for a role online and you're just one of the masses. And have you got the right keywords in your resume and all that sort of thing? On a LinkedIn profile, it's important to also think about keywords. It's about who you know. It's about broadening that network so that people go, I've got a role. Oh my gosh, Sally would be great for this job. What about Jane? And so it's just that. Yes, I think LinkedIn's so much more exciting. And when you click on the more button, so when you have a look at somebody's profile and you've got connect or follow, and then you've got more, when you click on more, you can click on more and then save to resume, and it can actually create a resume. So I think the future is that people, and already we're seeing it in America. Oh God, I saw it 10 years ago in tech companies here in Australia. There was this recruiter who was literally reading out the names of people. And I was talking to the owner. We were talking about his LinkedIn branding, and we were walking around the office. I'm like, I used to be a recruiter. What's he doing? And they're like, oh, his client is checking these people out on LinkedIn. Yep, no.
Yeah.
So before you even get the resume together, they're looking at your LinkedIn profile.
Yes.
Which is yet another reason why it's important to have all those previous roles.
Yeah. So social stalking. Before.
Does it? Everybody does it.
It's so true. And I think people are more aware of it now, because I know, in the past I've got so many examples of where people weren't aware of it. So tell us a little bit about this evolution that you're alluding to. So, this is how it is. And I think some people still haven't caught up to how it is now, but it's looking like there might be some changes. So what are you seeing those changes?
So I think we're getting content fatigue. So when you said earlier, Sarah, that it's not just about, a resume, it's not just about listing all of your jobs. Were you thinking about the publishing aspect of LinkedIn? Is that what you were thinking of?
As in content.
Yeah, I think content.
That's how I use it, because, that's what my audience and people that I work with need to see to know whether they want to work with me. From my understanding of marketing, it's about building the like, know, and trust so that people have seen me before they even speak to me. And just makes working together so much quicker and easier, because it's all out there, it's been difficult to do, putting yourself out there without knowing where it's going and who's seeing it and, how are they judging you. But I think it's, definitely needed.
So creating content on LinkedIn has helped you to increase the reach and the impact that you're having.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it gets people to know, like, trust. It's that familiarity.
Yeah. Well, because I feel a big part of business acquisition is networking and your network. It's always referrals, word of mouth. I think if you speak to most, especially service-based businesses, that would be probably 80% of their business. And, if you are not putting stuff out there so that people can like, know, and trust you, you're only limited to the network that you have. And, people have their own things that they're doing. They're not always thinking about you. So, to grow, I think you need to, expand and get out there. And it's very hard. I remember that first podcast that we put out, when I released it, I was like, oh, I felt sick. I talk about myself and there's so much of me in it, but I'm like, I'm just, people either want to work with me or they don't. I don't know. What else can I do?
Yeah. I love that you said people have got a lot to think of. When you said know, like, and trust, I always think know, like, and trust and remember. Know, like, and trust and remember. Because when we think about all of the things that are competing for our attention, and you said to me before we press record, how are you going? And I sort of paused in my answer because I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going? Otherwise, I am great. Oh my gosh, kids are back in school. I'm swamped. I'm out of routine. Like, there's so much. What am I going to have for dinner tonight? Oh my gosh, my child's outgrowing their school shoes. I've got to go and get school shoes. When am I going to fit that in? Oh my God, I've got golf. There is so much on, so much competing for our attention. And on top of that, half the time I'm hungry. So, so I might really want to work with somebody, collaborate with them, grow business with them, offer them a job. But it's not that I'm not interested in them. It's just that I've got a lot else of other noise in my head competing for my attention. It's really hard to sort of step out of the house and not think, oh, I'm going to have a walk around the block. Oh, I'll listen to a podcast while I'm doing that, Sarah Martin's. So it's so hard not to sort of fill our brain with lots of stuff. And so you want to stay remembered. So I think content's really important to being remembered. But I think the shift that we're going to see is, over COVID, we were all yearning for connection and all online and all on our computer. And we were like being addicted to the internet, just like, I think it like quadrupled. I can't remember the stats exactly, but it just went, but like, zoom. Well, just recently in the latest Microsoft LinkedIn annual report, they're showing that the amount of time on platform has stayed pretty static in the last 6 months. And I just think I'm reading a book at the moment, In Focus. There was a book, Indistractable, and I just think there's perhaps a little bit of social media fatigue. So I think it's still important to create content, but I think it's now going to be really important to leave those voice notes for people, thanking them for connecting. I think it's going to be really important, not just to be creating content, but to be commenting on other people's content. I think that the people who are going to win the war for attention are the people who are going to be the givers. Givers get, you really need to nurture your network, not just be focused on go. It's not about collecting people indiscriminately. It's about building relationships one sentence at a time. And I think that's what we're going to see in the next few years.
And that goes, I guess, around, and I guess I'm making it a bit more technical, but I do feel heartfelt about it. But I guess it's around that message marketing. What is it that you stand for? What do you believe? And then how do you find your tribe of people that also believe that you can work with and be with and socialize with and all of that?
Wow, beautifully said. You covered that in your training program. Sounds like you know a lot about that. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. People really need to know that. It's really important, and it's wonderful that you've got that in your leadership program, because I think it's going to be one of our biggest differentiators.
Well, the biggest challenges that people that I come across when we're working with them on their leadership skills and how to get to the next level or be seen within the workplace is they're not connected, or they're just on their own little focus path. And they're not realizing, this is where you're working, but this is what's happening over here. And if you're not, helping and working with those people and understanding what they're trying to achieve, then you're both on different paths. Yes. So really, a lot of the program that I run is around growing your own emotional intelligence, which is first obviously understanding yourself, but then how does that fit into other people and what are they trying to achieve? And then how can you help them achieve? Yeah. And I guess the real underlying thing is, well, what does your team want to achieve? How can you help them? And then that's where your results and objectives are met, because everyone's getting what they want and what they're trying to achieve.
Yes, and the same principles apply on LinkedIn. And I do believe that the LinkedIn algorithm, to continue being technical, is tweaked so that people who comment on lots of posts, when you release a post, you'll be more likely to get more.
There you go.
Now, so I think it could be the algorithm, but if it's not the algorithm, it's almost certainly the humans, you know?
It is the humans, because I notice whenever I do a comment and it's insightful, which sometimes I feel like it takes forever for me to get an insightful comment, but I do find I get a lot more connections. Like people obviously enjoyed what I had said or agreed with me, and then all of a sudden people are saying, "Oh, can I connect with you?" And then we'll start a conversation from that.
Absolutely. And I think if you always comment on some people's posts, then when you release a post, that person will go, "Oh my gosh, Sarah always comments on my post. I just can't help myself but comment on hers. Yeah, oh, it's Sarah, she's a giver. I'll give back. It's that law of reciprocity. So a comment can pull attention to you. When you say, when it adds value and it's insightful, when you've got something else in there. So I'll often set up a Google tab and I'll be like, what do I think of that topic? To try and sort of, get some real meat in those comments, not just like, well said, I agree, but try and actually really sort of add value, I think.
I try to do that. It is sometimes difficult because obviously, again, you're in your own space, you've got your own focus. Then how do you go outside that focus to talk about what this other person's talking about? But yeah, I think it's a real valid point that you're saying is to add value, because I do see, sometimes you'll go through realms of seeing the same people all the time. I've noticed LinkedIn as well, and then you'll see this one person will go same comment on every single thing, and I think,
it's probably got it. Yeah. Not sincere, not a good look at all.
And I guess when you say, not sincere, so at the end of the day, it's just about being real, being authentic. How are you going to connect to this person? How are you going to make it meaningful for what they're talking about? Yeah, so.
And what you said earlier, I think about, maybe you didn't say it, you certainly inferred it, about empathy. It is about growing that human-to-human connection.
I think it's really important. And with the new generations that are coming into the workforce, we've got the older generations that are already there and some are on the way out, retiring and things like that. How do the disconnect is so huge in the way they work, in the way they think, the way they operate. But one of the ways that we can connect is through trying to understand what they're trying to achieve. They're just trying to get what they need for themselves. I think that's how we can connect with the new generation coming in, is help them to achieve what they want to achieve. If they, yes, they're coming in with maybe conceived ideas that they can do the jobs without experience and they can manage people without managing. Okay, that. What can we do to put them on the path to give them that experience? They've got the excitement and the enthusiasm to do it. Nurture that, because it's very rare.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that needs to show up in our content. I think a lot of people feel, I think a lot of our generation, you said you felt sick when you first put your podcast on LinkedIn and you were like, oh my gosh, it's all about me. But I think, we really do need to put ourselves forward, and it can be helpful to think about content as if you're writing the content as opposed to doing a video, thinking about it as a letter to your former self. So when you're doing a video, thinking about creating a video that shares a tip that you wish you knew 10 years ago, and so I think, we each have so many ideas and knowledge and different experiences. And when we can share those, the good and the bad, we don't always have to share great stories. We can, share, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. This is what I learned about it. That's the thing. Then, so just sort of thinking of content as being helpful to those people who are up and coming, and using that avatar of you when you were younger. What do I wish I knew 10 years ago?
Oh my gosh, I'd have lots of content.
Yes, exactly. It's all wonderful content, and it's all content that shows off your expertise in a way that doesn't make you feel, oh, yuck, I'm bragging here. No, you're not. You're actually helping the universe. So I think we all need to be like famous chefs. We just need to be giving away our recipes.
People
Still
buy the book.
give away our recipes, because if you give away all of your recipes, then the people who are upcoming, staff that want to work with you, stakeholders that would want to work for you, employers that would want to employ you. They will see all of this content. They will see all these recipes and think, oh, that's amazing, you know, but they can sort of come to the restaurant or cook it themselves, you know, kind of idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it. Fantastic. Was there anything else that you want to leave us with around LinkedIn or, you know, creating profiles?
Oh my gosh, there's so much, you know, I could talk about LinkedIn all day. But I think we've covered a lot, you know, the importance of personalizing invites to connect, especially in a world where we've got chat GTP and increased use of AI, and people thinking about commenting as well as creating content. You know, if people can double down on the commenting and double down on you know, leaving people voice notes on LinkedIn, which is so easy to do. You know, once you've connected with somebody, you can only do it on your mobile. If you just go into your messages tab, click on somebody's name or type in somebody's name, and at the bottom right-hand side, you'll see a little microphone. Click on that, you'll get a blue button. It'll only ask you once, do you want to access your microphone? I'll only ask you that the first time, then you'll get a little blue button and you can leave a voice note for people. And I think that's so powerful and something that I think
I've received a few of those. I might try and get them out today.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Just to build those relationships, I think.
I love it. I think it's a great way, and that connection is just going to enhance your own experience in LinkedIn and in your own, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's career or your business or whatever you're trying to get off the ground. You know, it bring people on board.
Yeah, as I always say, you know, your network is your net worth. That doesn't mean you should connect with everybody indiscriminately. It's about building the right network, but you know, having the right people in your network, it is your net worth. It will make such a difference to your success, no matter what your path.
Yeah. Well, first you've got to just find what success means to you, and then you'll find your path.
Absolutely.
So I guess for the audience perspective, I just want you to think about, like, how are you being perceived? You know, are the attributes that you want to portray coming out in your LinkedIn profile, in what you're doing with your network? How can you keep your network more engaged? You know, Karen's already talked about commenting and voice recording and things like that. So I'd love to say thank you to everyone for joining us today, and a very special thank you to Karen Tisdale for sharing your knowledge and your insights. So please don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. Now it's your turn to leave a comment. How can you join the conversation and bring us into what you're doing? And if you did have a topic that you'd love to share or want to see someone speaking to us on this panel, then please reach out. There is a link in the description below, and we will love to see you on the next one. Thank you, everyone.